Deuteronomy. Choose life that you and your descendants might live. When I was thinking about that, I thought I was reminded of that phase of the new wave atheists in the 2000s, of which I was distantly a part, who used to say things like, well, the Ten Commandments, they're so obvious. I mean, they don't need to, why do we need to be told not to murder? Because you were murdering. Because humankind didn't know that you shouldn't murder.
There's envy. We could talk about envy. If you don't think that's an a priori condition, right, you are very naive.
So I heard that for many years about the Ten Commandments, and it was done in I think, usually naive and flippant way. But when it comes down to this one, literally the commandment to choose life in the face of whatever odds.
Yeah, whatever odds.
As the psalmist says.
That's the story of Job.
Exactly. And as the psalmist says, I shall not die, but I shall live. One of the things that I recount in the book is just the number of examples I came across from people who had stared right in the face of death, right in the face of evil, and who even in the face of it and in the aftermath of it had at the core of their being, I shall not die, but I shall live. And even in a military response, you see the difference between these things.
Right, you talk about Hezbollah breaking apart and everyone fleeing after the leadership is taken out, right? Well, that's why the 100 men possessed of the proper spirit can defeat 12,000 enemies.
Yes.
Because the enemies aren't united by anything transcendent.
One of the things that Hassan Nasrallah, the now late leader of Hezbollah, said for many years was the death taunt. He had said it many times. There's a famous time in the 2000s when he says it in a speech in Beirut, when he says, the infidels' great weakness is that they love life. But we love death. And this is our great advantage. He and others around him really meant this. They wanted, just like kidnapping children, kidnapping civilians, they knew that if you go to a society focused on life, even to the extent of the minimization of deaths of their enemies, that if you go for a society that loves life, desires life, fights for life, that you can terrorize them, you can terrify them with your orgiastic celebration of death. But as I described toward the end of the book, as the year of the conflict starts to turn around, as Hassan goes to meet his maker, from a Beirut bunker, when Sinwar finally crops above ground in Rafah, with only 3 other people with him, one, by the way, a bodyguard who was working for the UN, or UN agency. When Sinwar comes above...
UN.
Yes. Again, Sinwar's bodyguard paid for with our taxpayer dollars. But when the architect of the 7th finally comes above ground in Rafah, which, of course, the military expert Kamala Harris had told the Israeli army not to go into because she looked at the maps. But it turned out when they went into Rafah, they found their enemy. And when you see these people, there is an answer to the death. There is an answer to the death, which the IDF has shown is the destruction of their leaders, the killing of the psychopaths who would lead a society in this way, and a demonstration of the values of your own society.